if you're afraid to sell something, I think you need to educate yourself more, right? You have to believe in that. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Today we are talking about painkillers, vitamins, selling what you believe in, how you can apply this to every aspect of your practice, make it better, grow it. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, the likes, the listens. I hear you out there. I see you guys doing work. Finish up the year strong. It's a great time of year, right? Usually you get to this point and all the work's been put in. You've got your goal. You're going to hit it, or you're right on the cusp. There's a lot of anticipation. End of the year is always awesome because people want to use their insurance. They want to get in. And the beginning of the year, you usually start off with a bang. So good times. Make sure you're prepared for what's to come. Like one of the things I did that was, I think, beneficial is I knew once we started the new office that we were going to have to fill the new office. And I set up a plan in place to get Google Ads going, get a marketing plan together to fill the schedule. And once we got in there, we were ready to go, and it's been going well. Like I said, last month, I think we had about 40%. We're up 40% on new patients. So the marketing's working, right? You're a little bit behind the 8 ball right now, but you should have a plan going into 2025. What are you going to do? What's your focus? How do you excel? And I've shared this with you. I'm implementing EOS into my office, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, Traction, the book. And one of the big first parts of that is you have to have your business plan on like 1 to 2 pages. And they start off by going over your core values, and then what's your vision for the office. It has to be big, not about money. And then you have your niche, which is your mission statement, right? And as I go through and look at that, I'm just like, man, I know what I like to focus on: dry eye, ocular health and wellness, optical. But one of them is turnkey. You get in, turn the dial, and you can fill up the office. The other one is the dry eye aspect, and it's just a little bit harder. It's a little more nuanced. I haven't seen it to this point be the end-all, be-all for a practice. To do the revenue I want to do, to have the financial outcomes, it's a good like side dish, but it's not the main course. And that's kind of what this podcast is about, is knowing your main course, knowing your side dish. And something that I'll say that it comes down to two main concepts, okay? Number one is people want painkillers, right? They don't want to get vitamins. They want the can that says get ripped now versus stay healthy for years to come, right? They want the instant outcome, right? It's why the weight loss pills are such a hit, right? If you could have exercise in a can, people would be taking it like no other, right? What is the pain that they're feeling, and how do you solve that pain? Vitamins, not everyone's like me, my associate, where we'll invest in the long game. Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do all these things to not experience X, Y, or Z down the road. Most of our patients that come in want the painkiller. Okay? And the second concept is you sell what you believe in. All right? So those two core principles are crucial to you growing your practice, to knowing what the future holds, right? What is a painkiller? What are patients coming in and asking for? And then what is it that you believe in? Okay? I'm gonna be talking to one of my IPL account, or my rep wants to get some of my insight, and I'm gonna be talking to them. And the thing that I'm going to talk to them about is those two concepts: is that painkillers sell, not vitamins, and that you have to sell what you believe in. And like I said, apply this to anything that you are going to do. Whatever your vision is, whatever your niche is it solving a problem? Is there pain that you can alleviate? Right? Glasses and contacts are the easiest thing for us. Now, why do we not all, I mean, we all probably do glasses and contacts, but we don't hang our hat on it for two reasons. One, sometimes it seems below us. And two, it seems below us because it's a commodity, right? Anyone can go get glasses. Anyone can get contacts, right? To set yourself apart, you have to be creating an experience. You have to be doing it a different way, right? It's hard. You go into like dry eye and you're differentiating yourself. The problem with dry eye is that although most people have it, they don't see it as a problem. They think it's just how it is and just what they have to deal with. Okay? And doctors, when they're going to sell dry eye, not everyone believes in it. They have to talk about money. Oh my, I don't really want to talk about cost. Well, when you see a patient that's in pain, they're suffering, and you have a solution, you feel really good about suggesting that, unless you don't believe in it, right? And apply that to NeuroLens, Avalux lenses, or, pick your poison, vision therapy. I mean, I don't think a single one of us is poo-pooing an OCT of the optic nerve for glaucoma. We all believe in it. That's how we were trained. That's what we're going to do, right? So if you're afraid to sell something, I think you need to educate yourself more, right? You have to believe in that. And then the other thing is that you got to get good at is eliciting the pain from your patients. They're all feeling it. They just might not know what they're experiencing. For example, if you're talking to a doctor and you're like, oh, you need to really address your dry eye, and the doctor, 50-50 might be like, nah, I just don't think it's a big issue in my practice. If I'm a salesperson talking to that person, I'm going to ask, well, what's your remake rate on glasses? Are they complaining about issues seeing? How many contact lens patients are dropping out? When they have cataract surgery, what's the outcome look like? Right? Are they happy when they're done with those? Get them to see those things and we are actually having a lot of contact lens patients drop out around this age. Or, my cataract patients aren't overly happy X, Y, and Z, right? They get through. Well, now you're creating the sense of like, hey, there is a pain point. You're just not realizing that it's because of dry eye. Okay? Bring it out of them. Let them see how it's affecting their bottom line, how it's affecting their practice. Okay? When you're talking to patients, you have to do the same thing. What is their pain? That should be your sole focus when you're going in there. And then once you have, and again, realize I'm relating all of this to dry eye. You can apply this to any aspect of your practice. Glasses, contacts, NeuroLens, Avalux, vision therapy. I don't care what it is. You have to find the pain, elicit it. How do you get that to come out? And then when you're discussing the issue with the patient, we are doctors. We want to be sold. Give me the stats. Give me the RCTs, randomized controlled trials. Let me see the evidence. The patients want simple. You have this problem. This is a solution, right? Be black and white. You have this going on. This is going to help you, right? You should know if there's a complaint that you have the solution. When it's a dry eye patient and I know what's going in, I can look at a few things and I can figure out, all right, pretty sure this is the route that we're going to go. I'll do my test, look at my eval, but you have a pretty good general idea going into the exam, right? If you get a good enough case history. Have your treatment protocols in place and then focus on the pain point. Okay? If they're complaining about headaches from, whenever they're doing X, Y, Z, it's affecting, that's where your focus is. Not all the other benefits of a NeuroLens or Avalux lenses. when you're talking about dry eye, they want to read without having their eyes water. That's my focus. I'm not going to talk about the corneal surface, about how their glasses will be better or X, Y, or Z. I'm going to focus on the pain. All right. Now, what happens is sometimes we get so caught up, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we're selling something that we can't deliver on. You have to be realistic on expectations. Now, you may have that conflict of interest of like, well, I have to be excited, I believe in it, but I don't want to overdo expectations. There's a balance, right? And again, you do a few times, and I'd say 8 out of 10 times, you'll sell it, it'll go through. But you get burned on 2 of them, and those are what stick in your head. The 2 patients that clinically, their lids look better. They have better expression. Their meibography even is lighting up a little bit more, but they don't feel any different. You did the right thing. You gave them the best treatment. You got a better outcome. They're going to be better for it. But if you approach it the wrong way, they're not happy. They think you're a charlatan, right? And that's the last thing any of us doctors want to feel like. I think that's why half the time, unless it's treatment of ocular disease, we're hesitant to offer like non-glare coating or high index lenses, multifocal contacts, IPL therapy, because it might not work out. It might not be as good as we say it is, or you have 1 or 2 patients in your head that you're basing it off of. I don't want that to happen again. Remember, 80% of the patients were happy. We get caught up in the 1 or 2 because it's our practice, our baby, it represents us. You are fighting for the greater good, my friends. Don't let those rare outliers bring you down. But make sure you're setting expectations. I now know when a patient's coming in, if they're a good candidate for IPL based on their approach to it. If they're expecting too much, we're going to go a different route, right? I know it's not going to make them happy, even though it might help. Or I'm really downplaying the benefits I think that are going to happen because I don't want them coming back to me and saying, you said this and this is what happened, right? Not everyone is painted with the same brush. Different flavor for each person, okay? So be simple in your explanation. Have realistic goals. Don't get caught up in the details. For example, when we're talking about dry eye, we know age, gender, smoking, digital device use, systemic disease, medications have an effect on this. If you go into the exam room and you start going over all these other little nuances, you're going to lose the patient. Oh man, well, I know this might help, but I'm not going to be able to affect those other things. There's no sense in me even trying this, right? The details are there. Build a rapport, build a relationship, get a little win. One thing, find a way to move a little bit forward, and then you can start talking about all the other variables in the conversation, right? Build trust. This is a marathon. You are practicing optometry. That means you have a marathon mindset, not a one and done. You're not in a turn and burn corporate location. Nothing against the corporate locations, but they're not invested in treatment and management of ocular disease, not in the long-term care of the patient, right? That's not their business model, which is fine, but that's our business model. Long-term, get wins, keep stacking them on each other. Also, do not be afraid to sell a little bit. My concern is this, that word, those words, my concern goes so far when you're conveying information to the patient. Now, a handful won't care what your concern is, right? But a lot of patients, if you've done this right, if you built your practice the right way, trust you. If you're concerned about something, they're concerned about it. When I look at your glands and I see the lack of expression, my concern is they're going to drop out. When they drop out, this is what happens down the road. Okay? Notice I didn't just say, hey, you have plugged glands. I want you to do X warm compresses. All right. Why? Well, my concern is you have plugged glands And I want you to do these warm compresses. By doing the warm compress, you will get the glands to be unplugged. If you don't do anything, you will lose these glands. Right? They need to know the why, and they need to know that there's a level of concern from you. When you're talking about glaucoma and you're going to do a glaucoma evaluation, you have no problem conveying this. It's these other things. My concern with, I'm doing Avalux a lot. I don't even have Avalux lenses. I do kind of believe in those. Seen a little bit of research. I just don't want to add that to my office right now. But my concern is these headaches continue to persist. They affect you and they affect your ability to provide for your family. Right? I think we can help you. Or if I can get you back, 70% sooner, is that something you'd like? Yes, absolutely. There's pain. You're providing a solution. You're realistic, not like you're going to be back tomorrow or it's never going to happen again, but we can get you to recover quicker. Those are things that patients want, right? So define your concerns so they know. Tell them why you want them to do the treatment. And at very least, tell them what happens if they do nothing. Okay? So that's my little tidbit, my nuggets of advice for you. Apply this to anything within your practice. Make sure your staff knows these things. If your staff is doing their job correctly, they're in the same situation. They're talking about non-glare coatings. They're talking about frames. This frame is better for your prescription because this prescription that you have actually is going to need this type of lens, right? They need to know the tools too. This is a universal sales thing. And sales is a dirty word in the sense of you think dirty, you're selling stuff. When you have a patient that needs a treatment, you have to sell them on it, period. Right? So don't see this as a negative, right? This is you becoming a better doctor, you having a better practice, you solving patients' problems. At the end of the day, they're coming to you because of some concern. They want to know their eyes are healthy. They have a problem. Give them a solution. Okay? Fix their pain. Sell what you believe in. If you don't want to talk about something, educate yourself more or find a better alternative. That's what I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I listened to a podcast this weekend, and I thought this is one of the main takeaways I took from it. And when it comes to the atomic habits, the 1% better every single day to have exponential growth, right? The guy was talking about how he has rules for what he does, and he has a routine, and he knows the benefit of not missing a day. So he says that when he's going to do something, he can suck, but he can't skip. Right? So you're going to work out. You may go down, work out for 5 minutes. It's not the best workout, but you did it. And you may have sucked, but you didn't skip. You start missing days, and that's when you get off track. That's when you get off into the weeds, and you really never accomplish any of your goals. Right? So that's something I wanted to share with you. I thought that was the big picture I took away from that podcast is you can suck, but don't skip. And that's something I'm trying to apply to myself. Like, whether it's stretching at night or doing, one-on-one meetings with my staff, reading, right? I'll read a page. It may be a crappy, I'm trying to read more. It may be crappy, but I still did it. So suck, don't skip. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lilly out.